Hey everyone, it's Kit.Nicole back with a new video. Today we're actually doing a little bit of an adventure. Here in Manitoba, how do I put it? There is a shoebox store and I'm off to check it out today. I've actually just pulled up to where it is and come along for the adventure.
My name is Ina Reimer, and I started this many years back. My aunt had cancer and was dying, and after she passed away, her daughters realized how much shoeboxes meant to her. So they asked if they could have everybody else put shoeboxes together just in memory of their mother. So in those days, way back when, we would go from Safeway store to Safeway store to pick up empty shoeboxes. Safeway stores are hardly around, and shoeboxes are not found there if there are some around. So I would pick up shoeboxes and bring them, and people would give me money. I would go to the front of our church and ask if somebody could just help me so we could make more. I was being given money and couldn't keep track of whose money was whose money anymore. So I decided that I would just purchase a table's worth of stuff. People could pay me back whatever I had paid for it. We did that for several years, forgetting for the first few years to add any taxes to anything. I was starting to go in the hole, and the numbers of things I was purchasing were growing. Other churches were finding out that I was doing it as well, and so they were starting to bring me their boxes, and I just felt it wasn't right for everybody to stop doing it, so I just opened it up, and one thing led to the other, and before you know it, we had what we now have is Shoebox Drive. The Lord works in great small chunks for me, because had I known it would develop into something this large, probably it would not have happened. But graciously, He gave it to me bite by bite. So we now have credit unions help, and I have an Interact card, and I can do my purchases. And so we're able to keep up with the costs, and we're remembering to add the sales tax so that we don't go in the hole. Shop throughout the year, take a little bit of a break in January when everybody else is busy going to the stores and they're taking all of what they see as deals, and I realize that the Lord has always provided amply what we've needed. There are times where I've run out of something and I think I'm not going to find it, and before I come home, sure enough, in some corner I find what I'm looking for. So it's not mine. This is not my store. This is not we don't even like to call it store. This is a drive, a shoebox drive, specifically meant to bless children. I've gone to Calgary, I've seen boxes come in that have been really sad and really bad, and that's the other motivation for us to have this here. We want to be able to go regularly, take an eye into what it is that are coming into boxes to give us good ideas, but at the same time make sure that our boxes are not containing things that are going to scare or harm or be taken out of the box in Calgary just due to the fact that sometimes inappropriate things are being added to the boxes. How long has it been running? We've asked ourselves that question many times. We know for sure it's more than 20 years, just by the age of my children and how many years they've helped, and now they're adults and have their own children. So we know it's for sure 20 years. Our goal basically for having it here started off to make sure that we had a well-rounded box that a child would receive, that a camel and a donkey and an animal that had to carry this box of weight was not going to end up doing something that was not necessary. Our goals are a little lofty, but we did stick our neck out and say 2,000. We're not there yet, but that's what faith's all about, right? Take a goal, grab a hold of it. We've come close some years, so we thought we could stretch it to that. We're really hoping and praying that that will happen as a result of extra advertising, asking people to please spread the word to friends. There is a booklet that is received with the shoebox. It's called The Greatest Gift, and children are allowed to do the follow-up program called The Greatest Journey, and that is a huge part of our reasoning for doing it, is because the love of Jesus is spread through that, and many children come to know the Lord as a result of a shoebox, and so it behooves us to do that. We just feel like how could we not, knowing the greatest gift possible is being shared through a gift of shoebox. Our community has been very supportive with bake sales, and there are those from the community that have come to do shoeboxes, but really our scope of who we see coming through these doors are, for the most part, strangers to us. You know, the word spreads. There are a lot of communities near, in, and around who have groups coming. It's been a little bit tricky with COVID. Some of the larger groups have dropped off. We used to have the elementary school come and do shoeboxes. Just due to the fact of translating themselves from one place to the other, it's not happening anymore. So our numbers look like they would be down, but once again, the Lord's faithful. The impact that this has had on me, a new appreciation just for the volunteers themselves. We run this with volunteers from as many churches as we can. This is not. This is held in LCF Church, but this is not an LCF Church run drive. We have volunteers from the other churches in the area. It's a great thing to get together every year. We miss each other throughout the year if we haven't seen each other. It's one of those things that can bind and tie a community together. So not that we necessarily make that many boxes locally, but we definitely have volunteer help locally. Well, when they first walk in, my first question usually is, have you been here before? Because a lot of them have been here before. And if they haven't, I explain our pricing system. Because we have about 8 or 9 different volunteers, our handwriting is all quite different, one from the other. So we have a sticker price system with circles, with colors. Little dots are the smaller numbers, like 25, 50. We go by 25, 50, 75. We don't add a lot of complication to it. And they have a flipboard. Each of them will have the stickers on one side and a little piece of paper on the other, and they will do a tally checklist, and at the end they will sum it up at the table themselves, take it to our pay till, and we take your word for it. We're not going to go through everything on the list again. So what you tell us your box costs is what your box will cost. And then the $5 shipping, of course, as long as we have got enough cash for more shipping, which is an interesting thing. We have never yet not managed to say that they could have a $5 shipping cost, because God has been faithful even in that. We've either had, 2 or 3 boxes left that we can cover for $5 before we have to go back to 10, and then somebody will come in and hand us a check and say, use it for whatever you'd like. So then we'll use it for shipping. Saturdays, we're happy to have a bake sale, and that's each different church in the area. We ask them if they'd be interested in a Saturday, and they've been very great with that, been very faithful with that. So we raise enough money usually from Saturday to Saturday to cover the boxes in between. Well, every time I get into a vehicle and I'm anywhere near any store, I'm going to go down the aisles and take a look. I have been known to leave at 9 o'clock in the morning and come home at 11:30 at night when the last store closes. It's not uncommon. And if I have not enough room in one cart, I will get a second cart and ask the sales clerk if I can put my cart aside. So I'm not too likely to leave something that I feel belongs into a shoebox on the shelf. I tell people somewhat jokingly that I'm a gifted shopper, and I thought it was kind of a joke at first, but then I realized it does take a certain talent and a certain person to even enjoy being in a store for that long. But I truly find it a great joy to find something at a good price, to know that that is one more thing a person might pick up to put into a box because they feel then it's an affordable box. So our boxes generally, I'm not sure because I've never gone to a store, just to regular store and pick something up at a non-sale item, but our boxes are easily, I'm able to put a box together for $20 and it's full to the brim. So that's my goal is if I can keep the cost down per box, I can encourage somebody to make 2 instead of 1. And instead of stuffing it to the max, I would prefer them to not and make an extra one. It's not like they need everything in the store, and it's really hard to pick because we have a lot of options. And you see boxes that are bulging, and you just think, you know what? Why don't you just make 2 instead of 1? But it's their heart, it's their decision, and I'm just so grateful to see people doing it, taking time to write the letters out that they have in the boxes. We have Polaroid cameras so that they can take pictures to add into the boxes. We have repeat customers that have been here for 20 years that say, this is our Christmas tradition, please do not stop this. And so some of these are second generation kids who are now coming with their kids. So that's pretty awesome. Well, we have had an engagement, we've had a first date, and then we've had that first date become an engagement, and we've had the married couple come back, so that was kind of cool. We also had a lady who had a shoebox that she put on the top of her car when she was going to leave. She had a little baby and a carrier and a diaper bag and was going to take the shoebox with her to her church, which they can do as well. Mind you, when I mentioned that, the shoeboxes that get left here are the $5 shipping. If you take it with you, it's $10. So we only cover the ones that stay here. She was going to go to the city and she was going to have a picture taken of her son so she could put it into the box. Forgot that her box was on top. The next day she phoned back almost in tears. Did you find a shoebox in the parking lot? I'm sure I lost my shoebox in your parking lot. But my husband that night came from, we just live in town, but we live about a mile out, and he turned onto the highway and he sees items all over the ground, strewed over the ground, but they looked like shoebox items to him. So he stopped the vehicle, found the box, put everything back in the box, came in the door and said, you won't believe what I just found on the highway. I said, well, where did you find it? Close to our place. He said, well, that's a long trip the shoebox took on top before it slid off, but you know, nothing was hurt, nothing was injured, nothing was broken or dirty. And so the next day when she phoned, we could tell her this story, and she was so apologetic. And I said, you know, you taught us such a valuable lesson that I don't want you to apologize. And I said, we pray for the box's safety. We pray for what should go in the box. And when I'm going to shop, I pray for what should go into the boxes, what should I buy. But this really taught us the lesson that the box is covered for that particular child that needs to receive that box from the time it's put together, even here. So that's one of our favorite stories.
Alright everyone, thanks for joining me on this little adventure. I hope this was a unique experience for you. It was for me. I didn't pack a box there myself, as well, you've already seen the boxes that I've been packing, but I'll definitely try coming back around next year, maybe give you a little packing example of what we can do. I'm just going to head back to the city now. If you can't tell, it started snowing again. Alright, so thanks for joining me on this adventure. Happy shoeboxing and stay blessed. Bye.